Let's talk a little bit about what it is for you to sing in some of the most beautiful halls around the world. You have sung indeed in some important halls here in the United States as well as different parts of the world. Please tell us more about it.
Well, I've been having a career mostly in the operatic repertory, so I've been lucky to be singing in some of the most important theaters around the world. In the United States, of course, the Metropolitan Opera in New York, the San Francisco Opera, California, the Chicago Lyric Opera, Washington at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and some theaters in Europe, like like the historic Teatro San Carlo, which is the oldest theater open, still open, was I think was inaugurated in 1737, and also the Liceo de Barcelona in Spain, which is one of the most beautiful theaters, and it's supposed to have one of the best acoustics. But I have to say, Troy Hall has nothing to envy from these amazing venues because it was a great experience. Singing in that hall, apart from the acoustics, the amazing acoustics that it has. Um, it was like going back in time, looking at the chairs and from I can see audience from the 19th century maybe.
Rafael, that's very kind of you to talk about the hall. We're very proud of it, and we were, of course, thrilled to have you singing with us. And let me ask you, because you mentioned opera, and of course, opera is the bulk of your career. You have made a fantastic career singing opera, but you also sing in concerts, and it's people may not know that is different at many levels performing in an opera that as it is performing in a concert. So how would you describe the difference of those two genres?
I think the main difference is that, of course, when we're doing opera, we are in character, we are dressed up in costumes, and then we are acting. With it when we're doing a concert, of course, we're standing, we're watching the conductor. And one of the biggest difference, I think, is that in opera, the orchestra usually is in the pit. So the conductor is not necessarily conducting us, but following us. Because of course we're acting, so we cannot be watching the conductor the whole time. We have to stay in character and we're moving around the stage. So I think the difference between an opera conductor from a concert conductor or a symphony conductor is that in a symphony they usually conduct, but in opera they follow the singers and they try to coordinate what is happening on stage with the music in the orchestra. And of course, sometimes there are difficult parts that we have to make sure to watch maestro so we are together. But I think that's the main difference from the musical point of view.
You mentioned conductors, and of course, you have worked under many different directors with different personalities, different style of conducting, and I wonder how it is for you as a singer. I can tell you, for me as a conductor, one of the things that I enjoy the most in working with a singer of your caliber is that even though I have some clear idea of what I want to do with the performance, I also like to benefit from what you bring to stage. So there's a fine balance between my view of the music and what you bring with your own experience and your idea of the performance and all of that. So for me, it's navigating that fine balance, that fine line to create balance. So tell me how it is for you to adapt to different conductors.
Well, I think it's amazing because, of course, we are performing music that was composed many years ago. So you will think that everything is set, no? But it's different with each conductor, and because of the style, because of their personality, because of their experience. There are some conductors that like the singers to be ahead of them, to guide them, and there are some who need to need for singers to try to follow them. So you have to that process happens during the rehearsals, that you get used to what the conductor has to say. And roles like Tosca in Carmen, operas like Tosca and Carmen that I've sang so many times, you would think that everything is set. But of course, not only the conductors, but the stage directors usually bring something new about their um, their concept of the work, uh, and also anything that they have to take about the character. Of course, there's other characters that you sing for years, and I think they grow up with you as a singer, as a person, and you get to understand. And it's not always going to be the same. So it's the same thing with conductors. Sometimes they have a different idea of how tempo should be and why it should be this way. So it's very interesting that the way every time I sing a role or I repeat a role is different in a way, and it's it, it makes it more interesting. It's not so boring. It's not, okay. People sometimes, do you always sing your role the same way? I say, well, musically I do. I sing the notes that are written, but it depends. Every night is different depending on how you feel, the feedback that you get from the audience.
Talking of feedback, Rafael, there's also the feedback that you're getting from stage, from each other, from the conductor and from the singer. And I'll invite people to watch carefully on the last piece we're going to play today at the concert. There's a moment in which you and I look at each other. I don't know if you have had a chance to look at that, Rafael, but that happened without planning or anything. And I thought after I watched the video, wow, this is how it happens, right? That communication that we don't even plan about it. Now, uh, let's talk about the holiday season and how it is for you. For instance, I know that you travel all the time. At least you used to travel before this pandemic constantly for your career, and I'm sure you were traveling at times during the holiday season. Tell our audience more about what is so special about the holiday season in Puerto Rico.
Well, I have to say, I usually try to be home for the holidays, like the song, no? Because it's said that the holidays in Puerto Rico are the most happiest, and also the longest. So we start, right after Thanksgiving, all the way to Christmas, New Year's Eve, and then we have the celebration of Epiphany with the Three Kings Day in January the 6th, and then we have Octavitas, which are even 8 days after that. We still keep celebrating the holidays. So I think sometimes I have to be, of course, because of my schedule, I have to be out of Puerto Rico during the holidays. But now I'm making sure that every time I come back to Puerto Rico for the holidays, and it's 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 fantastic. So people tell me when is the best time to visit the island. I said, well, in the summer if you want to go to the beach, but actually we have summer the whole year long, so you can still enjoy the beaches during Christmas. They're not as beautiful as in the summer and the holiday during the summer. But of course, the food in the holidays and music and the festivities is something that not to be missed.
Rafael, I too miss the traditional Christmas in Puerto Rico, but I can tell you there is one aspect of our tradition that I do not miss, which is parranda navideña. For people who don't know what that is, this is when people go to your home unannounced at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they start singing outside and beautiful carols, and then you ought to open the house. And you need to receive people and cook for them and have a good time. Sometimes they spend 2, 3 hours at your home at that time. How is it for you? Do you enjoy parrandas?
Well, I have so many memories when I was younger that we used to do that. Nowadays, because we have all the the vicinities, no, they have you have to be announced because now we have all the control access with all the security, so we cannot do that anymore. It used to be like a surprise serenade, and then you will join those people and then go to somebody else's house, and then you will be doing that for during the whole night until sunset, until the sun came out the next day. So unfortunately, we don't do that anymore. But every time I hear in the holidays, I make sure to participate. People know I love to sing the Christmas repertory. So I'm always busy when I'm in Puerto Rico because everybody invites me to sing concerts in church, in their concerts, and I cannot say no. I'm always so busy while I'm here in Puerto Rico. I started singing when I was 14 in a chorus in my church, and I remember that my first concert was a Christmas concert. So for me, that has a lot of meaning, and it brings me back to my beginning as a singer, and I love to sing this repertory every Christmas.
Quisiera, niño, besarte, mis ojos no me dejan, y sé que te haré llorar, verdad que aún así me dejas. Ha nacido en un portal llenito de telarañas, entre la mula y el Redentor de las almas, el nuevo pleno fuego, del portal sale la llama, es una estrella del cielo que ha caído entre las capas. Yo soy un pobre yaucán,